Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alexis, and I want to give you a warm welcome to our free webinar, 7 Reasons Why Coaching May Not Work in Organizations. I'm very happy to be here with all of you. And first of all, I would like to check that everyone can hear me and can see the presentation. So if you could please raise your hands. If you're on your mobile device, you can see a hand at the top of your screen. Or on your computer, you can also click on the hand so you can let us know that you can hear us. Oh, well, I'm not seeing any hands. Okay, I see a couple of hands. If I could please have more hands from more people raised so I can make sure that you can all hear me. Okay, yes, I see 3 hands. Please do let me know if there's anybody who cannot hear me. There's a space for questions, or you can also raise your hand. I want to make sure that everyone can hear me before we can continue. Okay, yes, I see a few more hands. Thank you. Well, we're going to be receiving and hearing from Natalie Vacina. I want to give her a little introduction about her. She has a great experience of 23 years working in large multinational companies, and she's a founder of Success Logic, which is a coaching company. She has been an executive and a team coach for more than 2.5 years, and she's going to share her expertise in the business world with us today. So welcome, Natalie. Thank you for being with us.
Hello to everyone, and I'm really happy to not to see you, but to have you all today. And I'm really happy to share with you some ideas on the subject, which is very much connected to the business. So I believe that, and I suggest that we will have a space to ask questions at the end of my presentation. So then just if you have a chance just to write them down, and at the end we will be able to answer all your questions. So should we start? You see the first slide, and the name of the presentation doesn't, as far as I can imagine, doesn't really look like their coaching type of sentence. On one hand. On the other hand, here I'm with you, but I'm not going to coach you. And I'd like to share with you some thoughts and experience and understanding which may help to your practice, to your work, in case if you work connected to the business, if you work for the business. So I suggest we start. And I'd like to start with the, oops, how can I do it? Change. Yeah, sorry for this. So here on the next slide, you see just, 4 segments or 4 situations when the organization may need coaching. I'd like to state them up and also to explain what's happening in every single situation before we talk about reasons why coaching may not work in this or in other situation. So mergers and acquisitions, when a company buy another company, and definitely this is the case which requires lots of attention for merged and for the company who is making this acquisition. And definitely coaching here would play an essential role. The second situation is the stagnation of the company. The third, when the company has reorganization and or new culture desire. And the fourth one, as I could see it, the company is pretty much doing well, but wants to have the next level of development. If you look at at every situation in particular in details, I'd like to state here a few important things which I would suggest attention when you work with organization. If you work with the company who just been merged with another one, what usually happens? Usually in this type of situations, we see the conflict of cultures, the conflict of mechanisms and processes and styles, management styles. The key issues which usually companies and people within the company facing with, the key issues are that usually it's impositions of cultures, and usually it's forcing unneeded processes by the company who made the acquisition. The imposition of processes, the rejection of one and dominance of another. I mean, when I say one and another, I mean the company. I've been coming through this type of situation by myself because I was working in a company which was acquired by another one. And definitely that was a big pressure from them in order to implement the processes which they had, but not necessarily we were need. And nobody was trying to really make it smooth, and nobody asked us for our opinion that time. And here I believe that coaching really great instrument to be used in order to make the process, because the key task here in merger and acquisition that we'd like to achieve the easy integration, yeah, talents of both sides, of both companies. We'd like to have an effective structure and to ensure the great cooperation in between functions and in between companies. And we'd like to build a new culture, because when you have combining two different cultures, definitely at the end, you either will have a dominance of one, or you go further and you open your you open the opportunity to build sort of like, you know, new culture for both corporations, for both companies. And my recommendation here is definitely to have an individual and team coaching for both sides, and use coaching as an instrument for deployment into daily management. Next situation is a stagnation. What usually happens here in just, you know, short description, it's the absence of required results within the extended period of time. So it means that the company is doing something, it's really acting and having even business plan, but at the end of the year, or at the end of the second year and third year, the result is not what company wanted. The key issues here that usually in these type of situations, there is an absence of initiatives from people. People have a template thinking. They do not think out of the box. They're pretty much outdated and processes which are preventing business development further. And they have really another side of, you know, another side of this issue. They have preventing habits and beliefs within the business. The key task here in this situation, when the company has a stagnation, when business parameters and key indicators do not really showing good results. So it's very good to firstly to identify barriers and stoppers. So basically the barriers which do not really allow the company to develop further, to go out of the stagnation to the development mode. Secondly, it's big need to identify the key leverage points. And definitely any company, even within the stagnation situation, they have leverage points. And you need to identify them and use them in order to move forward. And the third thing which I see as the key task here is to implement changes and get good results. Recommendation here would be sort of like a consulting instrument to have a systemic audit, which will help to identify the key factors which are stopping the company development. And recommendations for the specific program depends on the situation, because here it's very difficult to, before you talk to people and before you identify where the problem is, it's very difficult to create a sort of like, clear plan. And here coaching is also may deliver great help. Next situation for the company, when the company has a reorganization and new culture desire. The first, what happens in this type of situations, because usually when the reorganization happens in the company, people are really frightening. They're really afraid that they will be either fired or at least move to another position which they don't want. And that's why usually what we face with the resistance of top management and employees, and we lose talented people because they are not trying to wait until the situation will be resolved. If they have an opportunity outside of the company, they really quit. The key issues here, usually when reorganization even implemented, the absence of consistency in management. Because as soon as you reorganizing the company or inventing new culture or trying to invent a new culture, you need to be consistent. And another side of the medal here, in addition to absence of consistency, would be the misinterpretation of the idea, or even falsification of the idea, was also happening quite often. And the key task here for the business, for the management, I would say even for the general manager or CEO, would be first to motivate people for changes, to ensure a clear and transparent process and communicate this process very clearly to people, and do it not only once, do it on a constant basis. And the third, keep and develop talents. So here we would definitely will be looking at the coaching as an instrument and use it for individual and team coaching. And also here I would see, especially new culture, when the new culture implemented in the company, I think coaching instruments in the daily management would be very useful. And the next fourth possible situation when organization would need coaching is the next level of development. Let's imagine what happens, that organization is doing really well, or at least okay. So the business parameters are met, and no issues, no significant issues observed. But at the same time, company wants to gain better result in the future. The key issues here would be that it might be that some of the functions within the company are feeling like over comfort. They do really feel very much okay with what they have, and they do not want to pay attention to some hidden processes and procedures which may have place in the company, and I will talk about them just a little bit later. What would be the key task for the company here is to find the new leverage points, business systems, people, or processes, motivate people and jump from the comfort zone. So for those who have been involved and been going through the team coaching, this, stages of the team development. So it's very important to take people out of the comfort zone. And the third task which business would need to is to achieve better business results at the end. And recommendation here also would be individual and team coaching, and inventing coaching instrument into the daily management. So to use it by people within the company. And here, next slide, which is indicating the hidden problems which I have already identified in different situations. You may find them either within the stagnation of the company, or even if the company is doing well but wants to achieve better result. Even within the reorganization and within the merger and acquisition, in every single situation, you will find at least one of the hidden problems. The first one is habits or frozen beliefs. So usually people act as usual. What it means? Usually it can be noticed when people in the organization doing daily routine in their usual way. They do not really challenge the approaches they use. They make business decisions in a copy-paste mode, as we do, like, if you go to the Facebook, sometimes we do copy-paste here, we do reposts, and we do not really pay a lot of attention to what we're posting or reposting or copy-pasting. Yeah, if you like it, we just continue doing it. The same may happen in the company. And this is a sort of like easy way to live. When you have a goal, you prefer to make sure that this is when this type of people put the goal in front of them, they do really want for this goal to be easy to achieve, not challenges they put in front of it. And they do really need, it's an absence of out of the box thinking. The second, what may prevent your business development is preventing processes or procedures, but people still continue to follow. So the position of personal isolation is very often supports this type of the issue. Managers, directors, or other employees, they do see, understand, and acknowledge what is going wrong, but do not do anything against it. They sort of like ignore what they see. Not because they want to ignore it, but because they probably have too many routine around them, they're very busy, and they do not see the reason why. And they accept it, and they decided to not to voice it up and not to suggest any changes. And this type of issue will also lead to the absence of innovative ideas for the business, ideas which may have a very high potential for the future business development. The third hidden problem is misunderstanding of the business goal. The action of employees and managers are directly connected to their understanding of the goal or of the task. And when they have a misunderstanding or wrong take out of the goal, they do not have a common vision of the action to be implemented. And specifically, if you look not only into individuals, but also if you look at the teams, different functions. So finally, as a result, we get wrong action. We get wrong actions of managers or their teams, and as a result of that, the organization doesn't really get the result they want. And this can end it with, and this work usually done with low effectiveness and low productivity. The fourth hidden problem which may prevent the business development is absence of common responsibility for results. So basically, it's equal to absence of motivation, I would say. When people think that their achievements are ignored, sometimes bureaucracy also play quite a significant role. Some unneeded procedures, not connected and linked KPIs between functions. It's also, you can find it very often in different companies. And, other issues like that will lead to weak cross-functional cooperation or even destroy it. And as a result, it creates wrong or unsatisfied performance or even delays in implementation for different business projects or even goals. And it's finalized with an unsatisfactory business plan result by the end of the year. If you look at the coaching here may help, because coaching is always about change. And coaching is about changing of thinking, of personal qualities, changing of habits, of beliefs, of behavior, relations, and it leads to the new culture formation. And even if you don't want to build a new culture, it still will lead to the new culture formation. But changes always faces with rejection. And I'd like to take you through a very interesting scheme which I love a lot, which is here. What usually happens to people? There are 4 key influencing factors which may change people's mind, and as the result may change their behavior. The first one is the presence of right role models. I'm sorry for mistake, I can see it now, but I didn't see it before. So it's role model, not role models. What usually people think here? I see my boss or colleagues and staff behaving in a new way. So the role modeling itself occurs both unconsciously and consciously. Unconsciously, people often find themselves mimicking the emotions, behavior, speech patterns, expressions, and moods of others without even realizing that they are doing so. So they also consciously align their own thinking and behavior with those of other people to learn, to determine what's right, and sometimes just to fit in. Everyone has the power to model roles, and groups of people may exert the most powerful influence of all. Today's increasingly connected digital world provides more opportunities than ever to share information how others think and behave. So basically, more surprising perhaps is how often leaders still embark on large-scale change efforts with seriously focusing on building conviction or reinforcing it through formal mechanism and the development of skills and role modeling. The second, what change people's mind is the right business beliefs. And I've mentioned before that sometimes you may face the situation that people, coaching is evoking, the desire of people to change beliefs and to change behavior and to change some habits. But in business, it's a little bit different. So in business, it's not only connected to the individuals, it's connected to group. So we know from that human beings, they strive to congruence between their beliefs and their actions, and expertise dissonance when these are misaligned. Believing in the why behind a change can therefore inspire, and I didn't mention that what people should think, that I understand what is being asked of me and it makes sense for me. So basically, when we think about individuals here, I've been also mentioning in the previous slides that as soon as leaders communicate about changes and communicate it not just once but on the constant basis, that really will make a difference. The next thing which is important is when you have presence of right role modeling and when you ensure that people have right business beliefs, you would need to support the formal mechanisms, to support it with formal mechanisms, and they should be in place. It means that, in my mind, as an employee, even it could be in different positions, even top management, that I will think that I see that business structure, processes, and systems supports changes I'm being asked to make. It's very important because psychologists, they have long known that behavior often stems from the direct association and reinforcement. And we have a very famous Russian scientist, Ivan Pavlov, who is in 1920s, has created a conditioning research, showed how the repeated association between two stimuli, the sound of a bell and the delivery of food, eventually led doctors salivate upon hearing the bell alone. And many people who have had commissions-based sales jobs will understand the point that, so basically, being paid more for working harder can sometimes be a strong incentive. Despite the importance of reinforcement, organizations often fail to use it correctly. But money is not the only motivator, of course. When organizations implement a change, the process and the mechanism should support effectiveness of people. And this is the essential point here. When we work hard, but faced with barriers or not able to perform due to the stopping stupid process, this will destroy the change. And this is what we have to pay the attention for. What may help is the open dialogue and discussion on processes and mechanisms with your people first, and as a next step only, to make relevant changes of processes. And the fourth thing which I'd like to pay your attention for, which influence motivation and influence the mind change, is the needed skills and talents recognized. So basically what individual will think when it works, that I have all skills and opportunities to behave in a new way. And I love, and I believe it's old UK saying, because we don't have such in Russian, which says that you can teach even an old dog with the new tricks. So basically, human brains are not really fixed. Neuroscience research shows that they remain plastic well into the adulthood. Despite an amazing ability to learn new things, human beings all too often lack insights into what they need to know, but don't. For example, can lead people to overlook their limitations and be overconfident of their abilities. Coaching can lead to identification of the blind spots, making people feel confident about some of their abilities and unaware of what they need to learn. Even when people overcome such bias and actually want to improve, they can handicap themselves by doubting their ability to change. So basically, these four things are really essential for changing the mind and improving and building the motivation. And what coaching can deliver? The coaching can deliver the presence of right role model. Sorry for mistake again here on the slide. So basically, it's a strength in leadership qualities and soft skills, because coaching focuses on that and work with the top management via the executive coaching tool. Next is coaching helps to build right business beliefs. So basically, we can ensure that right business beliefs are created, and we can help to change attitude and behavior of people and teams, and even behavior in between teams. The next point that coaching can deliver, the coaching can help and support the formal mechanism that's in place. So it's an open dialogue, as I said, with people. Before you implement any changes of the process, just ask your people, and coaching will help, because coaching is the beauty of coaching, that we're asking questions, yeah, and questions may help to increase out of the box thinking as well, in addition to identification of what works, what doesn't work. And the fourth thing what coaching do is really help to identify and use needed skills and talents of people, and these skills and talents will be recognized, and we will help to save talented people. We will help to create a foundation for the succession planning. Next slide is rather simple way to to show how the coaching looks like from the process standpoint. I'm not going to go through this, in very detail, but we know that when we put the goal in front of ourselves, we start think about, we should reinsure the values behind. We should work on our habits and beliefs. Then to identify resources, create an action plan. Then we need to act and then get the result. And definitely in focus, we always keep the ecology and we build trust, with people. And I'd like to pay your attention that here I'm talking about business as well. So it's business also should pay attention and focus not only on the goal, but also on ecology and the trust from people. And some leaders really do not pay enough attention to that. If you talk about the business, definitely goals should be smart, and I'm sure that, and I know that many leaders, they definitely know how to put the goal in front. On values, definitely these two questions will help, that what will we get when we achieve, and what will it give us. So definitely these questions should be addressed to the whole company. Then the next steps on habits and beliefs. What stops us? What is limiting? What do we need to change in achieving this goal? Resources, what we have, and what do we need in order to achieve the goal? Action plan. My favorite story here in action plan is for why. It's what, who, when, and how. Time frames and what risks we may face with, and we need to prevent all the risks. In action plan, what will we do differently? What we do at first, and what will we do now with the lowest effort? Here, the leverage point is also important. As a result, in business, it's very important and essential to understand beforehand, before we start acting, how do we know that we achieved the goal? What proves that we got it, and how will we celebrate? Definitely, it's the same process as usual, the classical coaching use. And now we come to the most important thing. What are the 7 reasons why coaching may not work in the organization? And here I use the same scheme which we just go through. And I'd like first to the reason number 1. It's one of the, to my viewpoint, it's one of the most important reasons why coaching may not work. The first important reason, when clients do not want to change at least in one area. And I will go area by area, and I will give you more insights here. But if the client doesn't want, or do not really realize that he willing to change at least in one area, then the coaching will not work in organization. The second is about values. What usually happens that in the companies, values very often mixed with the compensation and benefits. And this is the key mistake which you may do in the business. And you as a coach, as a business coach, should really pay a lot of attention when you work with the executives and then team of board of directors, that it should not be mixed with the evaluation system. So values is not about that. And that's why I've been giving you examples of questions which should be asked. But should be asked not only the executive in particular, it should be asked, these questions should be addressed to the whole organization. On habits and beliefs, usually as a coaches, definitely we work with habits and beliefs of people. But habits and beliefs of organization is a little bit different to what people have, because you may have your own patterns and habits and beliefs. But when organization have it, it means that number of people do follow to this habit, or number of people do believe into something which could be wrong. So it means that the second reason, the third reason, I'm sorry, why coaching will not work in organization when the coach or the company itself exclude the system, the organization itself, as the regulation factor of habits and beliefs which apply to a number of people. And sometimes coaches focus on the human factors, just to individuals, but do not take into account that that it could be number of people who has the same belief, or number of people who is following to the same habit. And this is business habit and business belief. And this is the thing which also may prevent coaching to be really working well in an organization if you do not recognize it in the very beginning. The fourth is the resources. And here, the key mistake that business sometimes either overestimate or underestimate the organizational ability. And this is another reason why coaching may not work in the organization. It's overestimation or underestimation of the ability. And here for the coach, it's very important when you start to work with the executive, or when you start to work with the board of directors, with the team of leaders, you should make sure that they do realize that when they look at the resources, they do not underestimate or overestimate the organizational ability in order to achieve the goal they put in front of themselves. The fifth reason why coaching will not work in organization is connected to the action plan. And as I said, I really love that, 4 W's: who, when, what, and how, assuming the time frame and risks. But what happens very often, you may do great work as a coach, and you can work with executive, but within the action plan, and then it's applied to the action itself, organization lose on its way at least one of the who or when or what or how. And then the problem starts. So, and then we may say that coaching will not work in organization in this situation. So definitely you have to pay attention to every single who, when, what, and how, and you should keep it in your focus constantly. And another thing here in the action plan, sometimes people do really neglect in the risk preventive actions. And this is important for goal achievement. It doesn't mean that you should expect that risk is happening, but if you make some preventive actions beforehand, you definitely create a sort of like great support to your goal achievement. And sixth reason is connected to action. So basically, the part of the action or tactics goes against the initial goal. Contradictions. Sometimes what happens, I will explain what I mean here. People think one thing and act on the third one. And it happens in business very often. When we put the goal in front of ourselves, toward that goal, and somewhere in the middle of our way, we change the direction. Sometimes it may happen that you change your direction, assuming and keeping in focus your central goal, but sometimes you just, you take out of the focus your central goal and start use another route. What means that at the end, you think about one, you say about second, and act about third. So the consistency should be really very, very important focus of every leader. And you as a coach should work with this leader on that as well. Not only keep in focus your goal, but also be consistent and think and say and act about the same thing. So then your action will be consistent with your plan, will be consistent with your goal, and you will help to yourself and to your organization to achieve that goal. And the seventh reason is connected to result. what I personally saw a number of times in my business life, and I see it still now, the absence of results proving in connection to the initial goal. What usually happens that if you lose some of the items on the way, either values or habits or beliefs, I have explained here how it works, resource, section, plan, and action. At the end, when you get the result which you didn't expect it, you start to justify these results with different explanations. And you will find a number of reasons why it didn't happen. And this is what also will not work if you do not look constructively to what happened and what you didn't do well, what you shouldn't do in the future, or what you should do more in the future in order to achieve the result you want. So basically, it's a seventh reason why coaching may not work in an organization. So I believe that this is the last slide, and I do not see the watch here. But anyway, so I'm finished, and I'm really happy to answer your questions, if any.
Okay, so we would like to see if you have any questions about the topics. Please raise your hands, or feel free to write your questions in the questions panel, and I can read them out loud to Natalie, so she can give you a clear answer. So we're going to give 1 minute to see if people have any questions about the topic. It was actually a very interesting topic, because it's usually frequent to have some clients, some coachees, maybe not have such effective processes during their coaching sessions, and it's very important to help us identify why. Okay, let's see. It seems like we are having a few questions here. Natalie, would you like to hear the questions out loud from the participants?
Yes, please. Yeah. I do not see any typed questions, so if somebody wants to ask them live.
Yes, Patricia Sarah. Hi, Patricia. We can hear you if you want to ask your question.
Hi. Yeah, can you hear?
Yeah. Yes. Hi, Patricia.
Hi. Thank you. You mentioned one of the 7 reasons when coaching will not work is that the habits and beliefs are not are in absence, or a systematic approach. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, systemic, not systematic. Systematic, when you say 1, 2, 3, 4, it's one after another. Systemic approach means when you look at the business as the system, not just, into individual you work with. And this individual, and usually when we work with the business, we work with executives. And executives, sometimes they're very narrowed, their vision, and they do not want, or they do not have time to look at the business as the whole, as the system which is connected. And that's why, as I said, that habits and beliefs of individual is not the same for the business, because individual can influence their habits and beliefs quite easily, not easily always, but easily, because you work just with one person. In a business, systemically, the habit of the business, the wrong habit of the business, it's a habit of number of people. Not because they wanted to have this habit, because the business has introduced them this habit and they follow to use it. And the same as beliefs. If one individual outside of the business has a belief, it's easy to work with him because you work with just one person. When we identify the business beliefs which is wrong, you should keep in your mind that it's not only one person to have this belief. Usually it's a number of people, it's a group of people who has that belief, and that may prevent the business development to what business wants. Is it more clear or not?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have another question here from Sky Toledo, and she asks, how, if you know nothing about the organization support, can you include that in analyzing if coach will work?
I think that you should keep in mind, yeah, definitely when you start to work with organization, you don't know, but when you start to work at least with one person, you may find out a lot about the organization itself. And what usually happens, yeah, you may start with one. How it happened to me sometime, you start work with the one director, but then you spread into another one or into the team. And because, you know, when you when you work with a person, with an individual, but from the business, and you realize a number of things which is connected to the business, and this person is the one part of that system, definitely, if this person is on the high position, it may help you a lot to help them for coaching to work in the organization itself, because you ask them systemic questions, you ask them questions with the real content, and you know, when you work at least with one, as I said, you easily recognize a number of things like straight away.
Okay, great. It seems there are no more questions so far. I see no more hands and no more question signs. So I guess everything's clear up to now. Thank you very much, Natalie, for your talk. It was very, very interesting indeed. You will all be receiving the link to this recording very soon. And, well, thank you for being here. Oh, wait, because there seems to be a quick question. Oh, no, there's just some thank you notes at the end. Well, thank you, everyone, and we hope to see you again in our...
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And thank you, Natalie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.